This is Michael with the Vision Experience, and in this video we're going to talk about our 7.1 surround sound receiver that's part of our new Premier system. We're using the Motiva UMC1, and we really like this receiver for many of its flexible reasons that we'll be going over throughout a couple of different videos. Right now we're going to go over all the different inputs and how they're assigned and how they work within this system. With the Motiva, if you go to the menu function, you can just select inputs and you can see how we've assigned all of our different inputs. The first thing we've done is taken Blu-ray 1, and that's going through the HDMI 1 through the receiver. Now, both of our Blu-rays are 3D Blu-ray players that have the dual HDMI outputs. That allows us to send one HDMI to the receiver for the best quality of audio, and the second HDMI is sent direct through the video pass for allowing us to access many of the 3D features. So for the Blu-ray 1 and Blu-ray 2, the first two channels, it's very simple. They go into the HDMI inputs for audio only. Our third input are for our video cameras. Over here, pre-wired to the side of the case, are our 4 video cameras, and that allows you to take the cameras either through the wireless transmitters or through the wired video cables, and that cable, or those video inputs, are split to the monitor, allowing you to see all 4 cameras independently in the monitor, and then they also go to a 4-camera switcher down here, which is sent into channel 3 on the receiver. That allows you to see all 4 cameras in any combination independently from the monitoring, so you're able to kind of cue and play and do the cameras as you like. Our next input are the HDMI camera inputs. So on the side of the case here, we have 4 HDMI inputs. Now these are connected through our Cat5 extender connection, so you can have your cameras from long distances away. And those are sent to a 4x2 HDMI matrix switcher in front here. And this switcher allows you to have 4 cameras sent to 2 outputs in any combination. Output 1 is the channel that goes through the receiver here, and the second output goes directly to channel 4 on our projector matrix switcher. This allows you to have the cameras either go through the receiver for a couple of reasons with your setup, or you can go direct to the switcher. We even allow you to have different cameras going through different projectors at the same time. So it gives you a lot of flexibility, and that part is great. If you want to monitor those cameras, you will run the video cables at the same time and send the video to the video inputs while you're doing the HDMI inputs, and that allows you to see the cameras in the monitor at the same time that you have the HDMI going through the switcher that way. Our next input are the outside video. Now, on the side of the case, we have several different videos. The great thing about the receiver is it'll take all of the inputs and up-convert them to 1080p. So we're taking our outside video, and that is assigned with our outside audio analog input number 1. Now, the video is sent in and converted to 1080p, and the audio goes through an analog to digital audio converter, and going into one of the coax inputs of the receiver, and that allows us to get a 7.1 surround sound from that analog audio input. The next input is the outside SVideo, and that works exactly the same way. The SVideo is sent to a 1080p up conversion, and the outside audio 2 is sent through an analog to digital converter, which gives you the ability to do 7.1 surround sound with just the stereo audio input. Our next input is the component input. Now we have our component input, and it's assigned with the coax audio input, allowing you to get your great quality sound that way. If you had a component device that had an analog audio with it, which happens from time to time, you could actually assign one of the outside analog inputs to the component with a very easy couple of pushes of a button through the menu, and it's a very easy thing to set up. Our next 2 inputs are HDMI 1 and HDMI 2 from the outside device. Very easy 1-2 pass-through with both the audio and the video on that. And then our next 3 inputs are just audio-only inputs. What we've done is taken our analog input with it not assigned to any video, and that goes through the coax input, so it is converted from analog to digital, so you can do 7.1 with it. And we do the same thing with outside audio too. It's not assigned with any video, so if you had a device that you didn't want it assigned with a video, just an iPod or something simple, allowing you to use some of your video resources a little bit differently, it gives you a little bit of flexibility. Then we go down to the Blu-ray 1 and Blu-ray 2, taking the component video output and assigning their own channels. Now we spoke about this briefly where we took the HDMI audio only out of them and we're sending the HDMI video separately. But we also are taking advantage of their component outputs. So Blu-ray 1, the component has its own channel, and Blu-ray 2, the component also has its own channel. Now one of the reasons we're doing this is the UMC one does not let, and many receivers do this, do not let you have the HDMI and component output at the same time. So there's a couple reasons that we do this, but because we have the inputs and the ability to do it, it gives us this kind of creative flexibility, so we kind of went for it. So we're taking the stereo audio out of Blu-ray 1, and we're sending it to our preamp up here, and then the output of the preamp is going back into the UMC with an analog to digital converter, so that actually can give you a 7.1 synthetic output. We're doing the same thing with Blu-ray number 2. Now one of the reasons we're doing this is because we can take those video outputs and go through our 2D to 3D converter, which means that you can put in any regular DVD and use that component signal, and at the push of a button, you have a 3D conversion for the discs, which is a really cool function. Now, one of the things you need to do to have the component output with the UMC is you can disable the HDMI. We built in a special switch here that you hit this switch and turn that off, and it disables the HDMI and allows your component output to be activated. If you put it back on, the component is deactivated and your HDMI is activated again. There's a couple reasons for doing this that we explained in some other videos. So this is just a brief run through of the inputs of the setup for this system, and that's why we use this wonderful receiver for our 7.1 surround sound.